Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Mike Gilbert.
And I'm Shannon Ryan. The wait is finally over for Penn Staters looking to attend a bowl game. ESPN reported on Sunday that Penn State will play its first bowl game since 2011 against Boston College. The new Air Pinstripe Bowl will be held at Yankee Stadium on December 27th. The last time Penn State played against Boston College was in 2004 when Penn State lost 21-7. This game will be the first time the two play each other in a bowl game. It will also be the first time Penn State will play at the new Yankee Stadium.
Penn State continues to be haunted by the Jerry Sandusky sex abuse scandal as a new potential victim has come out of the woodwork. The man referred to as Victim X told his story to CNN on Friday after filing a private criminal complaint. Victim X alleges that the molestation happened in 1988 when he was being heavily recruited for baseball and football. He said the sexual assault changed his life and sent him on a path of drugs and crime. Victim X was offered a settlement by the university but turned it down because he does not believe the amount is enough to compensate for his trauma.
Last week, plenty of protests took place throughout campus, all against the recent non-indictment grand jury decisions in the cases of Michael Brown and Eric Garner. The protests began on Tuesday at the Hub. 80 students laid on the ground with their mouths covered with tape stating "Black Lives Matter" on Wednesday. Protesters marched from the Hub to Old Main, where they were joined by President Eric Barron. On Thursday, protesters marched even further from the Hub to Petit Library. The largest protest was held on Friday at the Hub, with more than 100 students in attendance. We'll have more on these protests coming up in our interview live.
The Daily Collegian reported 3 Penn State students were involved in a multiple car crash on Friday. The crash occurred about 1 hour from the school on I-80 East. The students were all in the same car traveling to New Jersey. None of the 3 were seriously injured, but one student reported a minor injury of a cut to the head. All 3 were taken to the hospital to be checked out. Onward State reported these students were sisters in the Alpha Phi sorority and were traveling to Cannes for Thon.
The University Park Undergraduate Association has big plans for next semester after last Thursday's meeting. The Daily Collegian reported after weeks of discussion and debate, UPUA has finalized their elections code. UPUA also voted to live stream their meetings. By next semester, meetings will be streamed live so that viewers can tune in, and future assemblies can look back on previous meetings. It is unknown if the recordings will begin immediately for the new semester.
At its final meeting of the semester last Wednesday, there appeared to be a rift in the Graduate and Professional Student Association. The Daily Collegian reported Executive Secretary Jeffrey Masco didn't take roll call because he feels some of the organization's power has been abused by its members. He and 2 others also left the meeting in protest. They feel as though the association does not have the best interest of the students and is not changing anything about the university for the better. They called the argument over how to execute plans, saying they all share a common goal. They just can't seem to figure out how to bring about the change they desire in a positive way.
Penn State raised over $100,000 this Giving Tuesday. Giving Tuesday is a nationwide day of generosity dedicated to giving back to the community. That falls on the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. According to Penn State's Executive Director of Annual Giving, Ann Lehman, Penn State took in almost $120,000 from 903 donors this year. The donors consisted of students, alumni, and friends of the university. The Student Philanthropy Council gave out t-shirts and cake in the Hub to promote giving to the university.
A high-ranking ISIS leader has been reportedly captured in the Middle East. We'll have more coming up.
3 people are dead after a small private jet flying over a Washington, D.C. suburb hit a house in Montgomery County today. 3 others are still unaccounted for. According to eyewitnesses, the plane went belly up and crashed into the house, sparking an intense fire. 2 other houses were reportedly set on fire due to the crash. Rescuers had the fire under control in an hour. The FAA is currently investigating the cause of the crash.
The Justice Department announced on Thursday it will launch a federal civil rights investigation into the death of Eric Garner. Garner was an unarmed black man who died this summer after a white New York City police officer placed him in an apparent chokehold during an arrest. A Staten Island grand jury declined to bring charges against the officer last week, despite the coroner ruling it a homicide. The federal probe will include a review of the materials gathered during the local grand jury investigation. Protesters poured onto the streets of New York and across the nation last Wednesday to protest the grand jury's decision.
Actor and comedian Bill Cosby has been in hot water as of late for multiple accusations of sexual assault throughout his long career. But Cosby recently flipped the script on one of his accusers. The actor is now countersuing Judy Huth. Huth filed a civil lawsuit against Cosby early last week for sexual assault that was claimed to have been committed in 1974. Cosby has described her claims as absolutely false and is suing her for $33,000 for mental anguish. The Los Angeles Police Department has already begun investigating Huth.
Russian authorities have promised the public they will crack down on what President Vladimir Putin described as a speculative attack on the ruble last Thursday. Later in the day, the country's central bank announced that they are launching an investigation to see if manipulation of the currency has occurred. The currency has dropped almost 40% against the dollar this year alone. The shift is threatening to pump up inflation with higher import costs. The central bank sold off millions since Monday in an attempt to allow the currency to float freely. The central bank warned Russians of a recession as Putin warned citizens that hard times are ahead.
Typhoon Hagupit hit the Philippines this Sunday and is expected to push its way across the country until Wednesday. As of late Sunday evening, at least 2 deaths have been confirmed. The typhoon comes almost a year after Typhoon Haiyan devastated the Philippines, leaving 7,300 people dead and displacing over 4 million. Initially classified as a super typhoon, the storm was significantly weaker than Haiyan when it hit. Hagupit is predicted to continue to generate strong winds and rain, but is not as destructive as initially forecasted. The low number of casualties is also attributed to government-orchestrated preparation and evacuation.
The wife of ISIS leader al-Baghdadi is believed to have been arrested as of Wednesday by Lebanese authorities. According to CNN, Saja al-Dulami, the wife of ISIS leader al-Baghdadi, is a powerful figure heavily involved with ISIS terrorist plots. Not much is known about her influence, but she was considered a high enough risk to put into custody. The operation was reportedly in coordination with U.S. intelligence. According to Lebanese authorities, al-Dulami is presumed innocent as of now, but is being held along with her 4-year-old son until more intel can be gathered on ISIS's plans. She's one of 2 of al-Baghdadi's wives.
On Friday, 2 hostages were shot and killed by al-Qaeda in Yemen. American photojournalist Luke Summers and respected South African teacher Pierre Corky were held captive by al-Qaeda militants in the Middle Eastern nation. On Saturday, a senior Defense Department official announced the hostages died during a U.S. military raid to rescue them. President Obama's decision to issue a rescue attempt was due in part to a video released earlier last week, announcing that Summers would be killed. The U.S. had 3 days to comply with unspecified demands and unfortunately lost the element of surprise as they approached the compound. The president condemned the killings and sends his deepest condolences to the families.
We'll be right back with an interview on last week's die-in protests. Stay tuned.
No peace! No peace! No peace! No.
Do you feel me? Black lives matter!
Welcome back, I'm Laura Barbosa. In recent weeks, racial tensions have run high across the country following with the grand jury decisions in both the Michael Brown and the Eric Garner cases. Each grand jury decided not to indict the white police officers who killed the unarmed black men. The national response has been overwhelming on both sides, including here at Penn State. Last week, University Park saw several protests across campus featuring die-ins in the hub and chant of Black Lives Matter. I'm here with Damon Rayner of the Black Leadership Union. Thank you for joining us today. Damon, how are you today?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me.
Well, Damon, please just let me know what drove the Black Leadership Union to protest last week.
Okay, so I'll be quick. There's a couple of things. So first of all, we as Penn State, we needed to come out here and show that we are aware of what's going on and we're not happy with it. And that's really where it started.
Okay, and can you please let me know, the protests were formed, it was prepared. Can you please tell me a little bit about the symbolism of what you guys did? For example, the tape over the mouths and the 45 minutes that the students laid on the floor.
When Michael Brown was killed, he was laying on the ground for 4.5 hours. Now, that's nothing to, that's huge compared to what we have done. And the 45 minutes we lay down there symbolizes the 4.5 hours that he was laying down there. The tape in itself, the tape symbolizes not being able to speak as we go through these cases, a lot of different stories were being told, and we're not able to hear Michael Brown's case, and that's because he's dead.
Okay, and you know, nearly 80 students laid on that floor of the hub on Tuesday. Can you please let me know a little bit of what reaction did you see locally from the students?
Okay, yes, I can definitely tell you. In the Bible, so there was a lot of different reactions. You have some bad, some really bad, and you have some good. It was surprising that a lot of people use different social media in order to express themselves. Yik Yak, Facebook, or what is that other one? Is it Twitter? So then, and then also you have people come and voice themselves in general. They were, the majority of them, the ones that I've seen were very unpleasant, and it showed a bigger issue here at Penn State.
Okay, and can you please also let me know, how did the Black Leadership Union feel when the university sent out that notice that they were not going to tolerate any hostility against the protesters, as well as Eric Barron participating in the protest on Wednesday?
That is extremely relieving, you know, as it feels really good that when it comes to the issue here on campus, that we have administration, verbally saying that they support us now. Whether or not that we, as students and administration, continue to move forward and work in order to solve these social issues, that'll be something to look forward to.
Absolutely, and I'm glad the university responded very well to the protest, and I hope there are further steps to keep going this voice of the Black Leadership Union. All right, thank you very much. And thank you so much. Coming up, we'll have your week's weather forecast. Stay tuned.
Hello everyone, I'm Madeline Shutt with this week's sports wrap-up. The Penn State men's basketball team defeated Virginia Tech on Wednesday night. PSN TV's Jeff Tinkoff has more.
Basketball team is back in the BJC tonight to tip off against the Virginia Tech Hokies. However, tonight they will not be wearing their original blue and white uniforms, and instead be wearing black and pink uniforms to honor the school's original colors. The Virginia Tech Hokies lead the series 6-1 all time and have taken the past two matchups. Let's see if the Penn State Nittany Lions men's basketball team can get the win tonight.
Virginia Tech looked to be a tough opponent entering the game as they quickly jumped out to a 7-3 lead. They would lead for the better part of the first half until, with 1:26 left, Shep Garner would make a layup to give the Nittany Lions their first lead of the game. The lead would only last a short time into the second half. However, with help from senior leading scorer DJ Newbill, who posted 18 points in the game, and a 14-0 run over 7 minutes and 4 seconds, the Nittany Lions would gain a comfortable lead. The Hokies wouldn't give up, as late in the game they would cut the lead to 3, only to fall short to the Nittany Lions with a final score of 61-58. It was a story of missed free throws on Virginia Tech's end as they struggled to capitalize on their chances, going 0 for 8 in the first half and only 4 for 14 the entire game. The Nittany Lions would prove to be tough to deal with in the paint, as they posted 47 rebounds, 9 more than the Hokies. Penn State would record less field goals than Virginia Tech, but their 17 points from the line would help them secure the win.
And that wraps up the Big Ten ACC Challenge here in University Park, PA. With that win, the Nittany Lions will improve to 7-1 on the season. Next up, they travel to West Virginia on Saturday to face Marshall. Reporting for PSN TV, I'm Jeff Tinkoff.
On Saturday, the Nittany Lions traveled to West Virginia to take on Marshall. DJ Newbill, John Johnson, and Brandon Taylor each scored 17 points for Penn State, leading the team to a 73-69 victory. The team is now 8-1, which is a team best start since 2000. The Nittany Lions will play Duquesne at home on Wednesday. The Penn State women's basketball team got their second win of the season, beating Wagner 96-66 on Sunday. Freshman Lindsey Spahn led the team with 22 points and 5 rebounds, followed by Sierra Moore with 21 points, Kalia Mitchell with 20. The Nittany Lions shot 53% and had 40 rebounds. Penn State will play Hartford away on Wednesday. The fifth-ranked Penn State women's volleyball team beat Siena and Dayton this past weekend in the first and second rounds of the NCAA tournament. On Friday, the Nittany Lions defeated Siena 3-0. Micah Hancock broke the Big Ten single-season record with her 116th ace. Haley Washington led the team with 9 kills and 6 blocks. On Saturday, Penn State moved past Dayton in a 3-0 match. Junior Megan Courtney had 11 kills and 2 blocks, followed by freshmen Allie Franti and Haley Washington, who each tallied 9 kills. Penn State will play UCLA in regionals this Friday in Kentucky. The Penn State women's ice hockey team went 1-1 this past weekend against Robert Morris. Nittany Lion goalkeeper Celine Whitlinger led the team with 42 saves in a 5-0 victory on Friday night. Shannon Joheimer scored 2 goals for the Nittany Lions, with Hannah Hunshell, Michaela Katzinaretti, and Amy Peterson each adding 1. On Saturday, the Nittany Lions fell to Robert Morris 4-2. Laura Bowman and Hannah Bram scored for Penn State, while goalie Hannah Arestman had 33 saves. The team will play Mercyhurst on Friday in the Pagula Ice Arena. The Penn State's men's ice hockey team went 2-0 this past weekend, beating Wisconsin 5-2 on Friday and 4-2 on Saturday. David Glenn and Dylan Richards scored in their returns to the ice alongside David Goodwin, James Robinson, and Casey Bailey. Penn State goalie Eamon McAdam had 22 saves on the night. On Saturday, James Robinson posted his 2nd goal of the season, while Max Gardner, Tommy Olchek, and Ricky DeRosa each added a goal to give the Nittany Lions another victory. Penn State goalkeeper Matthew Scoff had 23 saves on the night. The team is currently in Pittsburgh playing Robert Morris. And that's all for this week's Sports Wrap-Up. I'm Madeline Schutt. PSN News will be right back after this.
Former Penn State student Elizabeth Herndon set the women's world record at the Beer Mile World Championships last Wednesday in Austin, Texas. She had a time of 6 minutes 17.76 seconds. The competitors must drink 4 beers while running a mile, and anyone who throws up or doesn't finish a beer is automatically disqualified. Herndon graduated in 2012 with a PhD in geoscience and ran cross-country for Penn State. She's been on the beer mile circuit for quite some time, and her training has paid off with a big victory for herself and her alma mater. Shannon, sign me up for that, because I could definitely compete.
I'm sure you could, Mike, but I think you'll have to wait until you're of age.
Very true. That will do it here for us at PSN News tonight for December 8th, 2014. Thanks for joining us, and make sure to check us out on Twitter at PSN News.
That's all for us in 2014. Catch us when we come back on January 19th. Have a good night, and thanks for watching.